Hello and welcome to this edition of the SFG Top Performance Feed and Grain Podcast. My name's Mark White. I'm the grain merchandiser for Smith Fertilizer and Grain. And with me this morning is Scott Gates and Mike King from the feed department. We'll start off with a little bit of grain. Been a couple weeks since we spoke last. The grain markets continue to move daily, and I say that in jest. Used to be in the old days, 2 or 3 cent change in the markets during the day was kind of the it. It didn't get real excessive anymore. That can happen in a flash, and we see a lot of days where we're moving 10 to 20 cents one way or the other. In the past 2 weeks, March beans have traded in probably a 50-cent range, and today they're worth about 40 cents more than they were 2 weeks ago. Corn, on the other hand, has been a little tighter range in the last 2 weeks, and today it's running about 8 cents. March corn's about 8 cents higher than 2 weeks ago. The USDA released their January WASDE report on the 12th. A lot of years, that's a big market mover. There are a lot of things happen in that report, not just the supply and demand, but also they adjust the acreage and yield from the prior year. And they did all that this year, and for once it kind of came in according to what the analysts thought it would. It was pretty close anyway. On the corn side, they raised the carry out about 50 million bushel. Wasn't totally unexpected there. Most of that was due to they increased the harvested acres from last year, 300,000. And so if you take a yield of 177, that gets you that 51 million bushel right there. So as far as the corn, that's not, it's really not a bullish or bearish number on the carryout. That kind of puts us in a place where we're not going to run out of corn, but we're also not in an overabundant supply that's going to weigh on us heavy. So exports and demand going forward can still make a difference here. And hopefully we'll start to see our exports pick back up. It's the time of year where corn exports do that. The other countries are running through their supply, and we come in and pick up the corn. Beans, on the other hand, they raised the ending stocks 10 million bushel. Again, not unexpected. Probably what maybe went contrary to thinking was they did not lower the export number any more than they did. They left it the same as the prior report. Many think that, with the sales being so slow here the last 2 months, that number is still going to need to be adjusted. Now, just this morning, before we started this, the export sales came across the wire, and China bought 5 million bushel of beans, and an unknown, which typically is China, bought 10 million bushel of corn. So many people think that the Chinese will be back into the market buying more product. Of course, soybeans will go primarily to Brazil in the next 3 months. Once their harvest kicks off here in the next month or so. But the corn will probably still come out of this country. Weather concerns in South America continue to dominate the news, so to speak, on the market side. A lot of continued hot, dry weather throughout southern Brazil and into Argentina. However, as normal, it's hard to get accurate data out of those areas. And we may not really get a handle on it until harvest is well underway in the next 6 weeks sometimes. So that'll all be interesting. The other thing that's playing on the market right now is the possible conflict between Russia and Ukraine. As humans, we all hope that is averted. It doesn't happen. It's never good for two countries to fight. But on the marketing side, it could have some dramatic impacts. Ukraine is one of our major corn competitors. If Russia would happen to invade, that could slow down some things out of that country because they're going to have to put their resources toward protecting their border. So that'll play out here in the next probably 6 months, I'm guessing. It's not going to be a quick fix. New crop prices not a lot going on there. Beans are still trading, in that 12. Locally, you can get around 12 and a half or so, or a little better, up to 12.65 for new crop beans. Still not a bad place to start. Corn, on the other hand, it's just struggling to stay in that 5 to 5.10 range locally. And that surprises me, and it surprises a lot of other people. That may not be enough to keep the acres this spring. If guys are writing checks for $1,500 anhydrous, $5 don't quite cut it, I don't think, especially not in this country, but that's yet to be seen. So as we go forward, I think the weather, world weather and world politics are both going to play a role in how we value the new crop grain for the next 6 months. And of course, the other factor in this country will be planting intentions. And that report doesn't come out till late March, but we'll start trading those numbers sometime in February. There's still going to be a lot of speculation there. If you have any questions on the grain market, please reach out to us at SFG. We will gladly help you market your grain. With that, I'll turn it over to the feed guys. And Scott, do you want to kick it off?
Sure, Mark. Well, I think we all knew that we was going to pay for this nice fall that we had, but nice thing is it is the middle of January. The days are starting to get longer and spring's getting closer, but I've got some housekeeping things for you for today. So right now there's a few things to be thinking about. We need to remember to keep our windbreaks and our protections up for our cows out in the pasture. This cold weather like this, they need all the help they can get. Remember that a clean, dry hair coat reduces maintenance energy requirements. So in order to help get them through this weather, the cleaner and drier we can keep them, the better off they'll be. Keep bedded areas available, keep them fresh. Corn stalks, even roll out hay bales, anything gives them something good and dry to lay on the cold ground. Don't forget about your bulls. They need a dry place to lay out and out of the wind too. Frozen testicles are a major reason for failure to pass a breeding soundness exam, so we really need to keep them up off the frost as good as we can. Monitor the body condition score in your cows. Make sure that they're not dropping condition during these cold snaps. Now is a good time to be getting ready for calving. I'm sure we probably all got a calf puller out in the lot fence, so we probably ought to fix the fence so we can get the calf puller back in and get it cleaned up and make sure that it's operational. Clean and disinfect your calving barn and get stocked up on colostrum and milk replacer. Any preparations you can make now will pay when that first emergency comes along, because typically it's midnight and nobody's open at that time of the day. So while I'm talking about spring, SFG has some really attractive pallet pricing on Hubbard minerals right now. And starting in February through March, we will also have booking specials on Kent minerals. So contact Mike or myself and let's lock in some good prices on some spring and summer mineral needs. Mike, you got anything?
Okay, appreciate it. I got some good news for you cattle guys. We finally got $1.40 for fat cattle, and it appears like we could be looking here in early spring at least 150, and there might be a short term of 160 on fat. So finally, for all your hard work, guys, you're getting paid, and it's long overdue. Feeder cattle, 5 weights, 7 weights are still bringing really good money, and it still works for the guys that buy them. So I'm happy to see that the cow-calf man and the cattle feeders finally getting paid for all his hard work. So with that thought, you got a new crop coming, guys. They're worth money, so let's think about taking care of that new calf that's going to be hitting the ground. And a couple things. We have Hubbard's OptiCare scour tubes, and they're very cost effective. They're $7.50 a tube. Something to think about is you may want to consider using them in this cold, damp weather as a preventative. And if you choose not to, at least when you see the first sign of any looseness in the calf, it's a whole tube per calf. Get it in them. These calves are worth money, so let's take care of them. The colostrum product that we have, as you compare to what the competition has, We have 150 immunoglobulins product. Most of them have 80 or only 100. And the industry will tell you that a calf needs that 150. If you're using it as a total replacement, if you're using it as a supplement, because you got a weak calf, you can use a half a pack, and you're still going to have the levels that they need. One advantage of our product is it's priced right. Another advantage of it is it mixes, and it mixes right now and stays in mix. There's a lot of products out there that don't mix well, even in hot water, and they cost more money, to the tune of $8 to $10 a pack more. So contact us for those. In February, we'll be having specials for you on the tubes, on the colostrum both, so that's the time to contact us and get those locked up. And be sure you have them on hand, because you need them. When you need them, it's 11, 12 o'clock at night or 4 in the morning, and you thought, shoot, I wish I'd have picked them up yesterday, so get them on hand. The other thing is, because we're starting to calve, and we're going to be heavy calving here in February and March, consider a calving mineral and higher vitamins, organic selenium, and biomass. Start 2 to 3 weeks before calving. And what the biomass will do, it improves milk quality. That research has been done. The other thing that it does is the biomass really helps reduce scours. And normally most of those scours that you're not vaccinating for are salmonella or E. coli, so we can cover that scenario. And that's why you want it in early. The reason for the organic selenium is that organic selenium, you start it before calving, it passes through the placenta to that calf. So that calf's born with a real high selenium status. And then every time that calf nurses mama, it's in the milk. So I can't give the calf any higher selenium status. I can't help boost his immunity any better than with the selenium and the biomass. So those are things that talk to us about it. You can use 100% organic mineral if you so choose with the biomass, or we can get you mineral that has the biomass in it, still has the organic selenium, but the other trace minerals are inorganic. So those are options that we can discuss. The last thing on why you want to have the organic selenium in the calving mineral that I mentioned earlier is that it builds up a high selenium status to help that cow or heifer for rebreeding. And all the minerals that we handle are standard with organic selenium. Look on your tag, and under the ingredients, it'll say selenium yeast on the ingredient, if it's in there. And most companies don't. They're running sodium selenite, and that's very poorly utilized, and that's proven by the feed industry and research. So congratulations on the good cattle market, and it's going to continue the way it looks. A lot of cows are going to slaughter. So you think that hurt the fat market, but it isn't. But they're going to slaughter because the wheat isn't there, the pastures aren't there, and it's more than 2 or 3 states. So again, thank you for your business. Call us anytime. As always, we like to come out to the farm and see your operation, visit with you. So have a good calving season, and please call anytime. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Scott and Mike. That's some very timely information as we head into the calving season. This wraps up this edition of SFG Top Performance. Join us again in a couple weeks. Thank you.